Hello, Fort St. John Alliance Church family. Today's library read is Jonah and the Whale. Jonah was one of God's faithful servants. He lived a simple life in a quiet village. He prayed to God and followed all of God's commandments. One day, God chose Jonah for a special task. God wanted Jonah to take a journey to a nearby city. This city, called Nineveh, had turned to sin and violence. "The people in Nineveh have forgotten me," God said. "Go to that city, Jonah, and bring the people my word." Jonah had heard many frightful stories about the city of Nineveh. It was a terrible place. People were sinful there. They were often mean to each other, and they were always mean to strangers. Jonah was afraid. He did not want to go to Nineveh. He thought the people would not listen to him. He thought the wicked people of Nineveh might want to hurt him. In his fear, Jonah thought only of saving himself. He did not think of God's wishes. Jonah ran away from Nineveh. He ran away from God. Jonah went away to a city by the sea. He wanted to leave his country. Jonah thought he could hide from God in a faraway place. At the port, he found a boat that was about to leave for a distant land. Jonah paid his fare and climbed aboard the boat. "Where are you traveling to?" said one friendly passenger. "I do not know," answered Jonah sadly. "I only know that I am going far away from here." As the ship sailed away from the shore, Jonah went down below the deck. There he fell asleep. He slept peacefully for a while, but he woke with a start. A great storm had risen from the sea. The boat was tossing back and forth among the wild waves. "What is happening?" Jonah asked a passenger. "A terrible storm came up upon us suddenly," the passenger replied. "We had no warning. We're in serious danger, I'm afraid." The passengers huddled together into the boat. They prayed to many different gods to save them. Jonah saw the fear in their faces, but he did not pray. He knew that God had sent the storm, and he knew he was a fool to think he could hide from God. Jonah stood up and said, "The storm is meant for me. I ran away from God, and only I should face the consequences. Throw me into the waves, and you will be saved." "But you will die," the men said. "We cannot do that." "Trust me," Jonah said bravely. "It is the only way." The men did as Jonah asked. As soon as he disappeared beneath the waves, the storm stopped. As he sank into the sea, Jonah prayed. A giant whale came up from the depths of the sea. It swallowed Jonah in one swift gulp. Like the terrible storm, the giant whale was sent by God. Jonah understood. Jonah sat inside the belly of the whale and waited. It was very dark and damp, but at least he was able to breathe again. Jonah thought for a long time about what had happened. "I should have done as God asked," he whispered. "I was a fool." Jonah was happy to be alive, but he was trapped inside the whale. He wondered if he would ever be free again. Jonah knew that he was not completely alone. God, he understood, was always with him. Jonah asked God to forgive him. "I was afraid," Jonah prayed, "and I ran away from you. I will never run away from you again. I should have known that you would keep me safe. I should have known that you would never let danger come to me. And I know that now, God. I trust you more than ever." Jonah spent 3 days and 3 nights inside the whale. He was not afraid. He had faith in God's goodness. In his prayers, Jonah promised to always serve God. Finally, the whale opened its mouth, and Jonah was free. He swam out of the whale to the shore, where God spoke to Jonah a second time. "Go now to Nineveh and bring the people my message." This time Jonah obeyed. He walked to Nineveh. At every city gate and in every marketplace, Jonah told his story. He warned the people of Nineveh that they could not run away from God. The people listened, and since Jonah was spreading the message to God's people, he knew he had nothing to fear again. Thanks for listening.